One of the modules that we're doing in architecture is technology. And right now we're starting it. So one of the tasks is to develop some sort of a detail and maybe study a precedent of a detail that would be relevant to a project that we're doing. And in my group, we're talking about heritage, and this is actually relevant to the project that I'm proposing. And I will cover the project that I'm doing later on. But this particular video, I want to be making a detail, and in particular, I will be making a model of a detail, and I'm thinking of making a scaled model, which is a physical model rather than like a 3D or like a drawing. I think it would be what would be a better way of learning the actual structural composition of a certain technical aspect, whether it would be inside a building, outside, or just an architectural interventions. I thought it would be an awesome starting point and great growing opportunity and learning opportunity as well. I'm Filip Manuilov. Let's get into it. Right, I want to begin on saying that I'm not some kind of expert on model making. No, I'm just trying to learn and show you the process of how I'm doing it. And at the same time, obviously, I will try my best. I will apply all the rigorous skills and all the knowledge that I have in terms of details and like model making. But I'm nowhere near like some expert levels that you could find. But I guess it would be an interesting point for you to see how to make something like that. And I don't know if there are lots of videos about actually making these type of details, because nowadays lots of them are made in the 3D models, and well, they're not as aesthetic, and I guess probably not as cool, and it takes a lot more craft to actually make one. And I want to approach this one by deciding and figuring out what I'm going to be making. So I have an idea of one project that is relevant to my intervention that I'll be making later on, and it will be a detail that is showcasing the junction with the existing plaza. I think it's somewhere in Croatia, where there were Roman ruins somewhere, and they're renovating the plaza so it's more publicly accessible, at the same time exposing these Roman ruins and showcasing their beauty. So I think that's a very interesting thing to explore and to see how it's done. And I found a really nice detail, and I will show you pictures right here. I think they are a little bit ambiguous, but I'll manage my way through them, I guess. And my next steps will be trying to understand how to work them out and combine and simplify it into a detail that would be probably 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, maybe even 1 to 5. I will see. I'm probably planning to make a model that will be roughly 300 mil and maybe like a book size A4. So right now I will be sketching the potential model that I'm thinking of making it, and determining the materials as well. Right, you see here I started sketching out the detail that you saw earlier, but I'm kind of trying to envision it in a way that I will potentially be building it, and I'm also adding the bottom, as you can see, to be able to build it all together. In the meantime, I was thinking that the potential scale that I will be building it to is 1 to 10, and for example the part that I show as a concrete I can cast from plaster, and the stones I can make here just out of sandstone. After that was done, I drew the same detail in AutoCAD. Here you see I use a laser cutter to cut some of the perspex siding for the plaster cast and the MDF bottom. You'll understand in a bit exactly what is happening. Looks like this, and then I will be putting all the sides together. That will be kind of the casing for the plaster that I'm going to be putting. Hopefully it will be nice and straight, because there's a lot of corners in this particular detail, and I'll try my best to make sure it all aligns and is perpendicular. I guess you can kind of see what I'm starting to do in this frame. I stuck the top parts of the casing, and this is the MDF bit that I had to use some tape on in order to have this glossy finish, and like that it will have a very similar texture finish when you take it off the cast as the perspex. And you might be wondering, why am I not using perspex for all of the sides? And this is simply because I'm using the recycled materials from the workshop. I have finished the casing model and I'll be just pouring the plaster inside it. That shouldn't take long, and I'll put a little color dye. Right, plaster poured. And while the plaster is drying, I'm laser cutting the base I will be holding all together. The cast turned out very well, and I also like this gray color that makes it look like concrete. And it's about time to start putting everything together because the deadline is approaching. I also found a nice piece of sandstone that you see right here. Time to cut the sandstone into smaller pieces, and you see Richard kindly helping me out to make this happen. We just finished cutting the stones and they turned out really nice. Look at this. And what I'm gonna do now is I will chisel them and try to get the surface a bit more rough, like this edge.
3 hours later.
That was nice and quick. It's a pile of stones that turned up, so I kind of roughened the side edges, and when looked in profile, this is basically what I need. Now time to start assembling everything together, and you see I'm putting these foam blocks inside just for inner structure and rigidity. This is how the final model turned out. I put some earth in between the boards as you see at the bottom, and on top of the plaster I put MDF and then some foam board as well. Okay, this will be it for this video. I kind of like the result of the model that I produced. I will be making some new models, I guess, and I also want to try a different scale, probably 1:5 or even 1:1, because when I was making this I kind of thought it was a bit constrained by the dimensions of it. Hope you liked the video. Share your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.